Hello.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you, Danie?
Good.
Good.
Welcome back to another episode of Wicked.
Mysterious.
I'm your host, Danie.
And I'm Katie.
That was the most saddest mysterious I've ever heard.
I know. I don't even know that voice that just came out of me. I don't. Right. Yeah.
We're having a rough time keeping it together tonight.
Well, it's a rough life. We just took a little break, right?
Yes, a very short hiatus.
We did. Very short.
Very short. Not short enough.
Too short.
Yeah. Not short enough.
Not long enough.
Not long enough.
Yep. Did we say this is Mini Mystery?
This is Mini Mystery Monday.
It sure effing is.
December edition.
I'm looking at a Christmas tree. This is unreal.
Ho, ho, ho's in this house.
I was just singing that last night, though. No. Today, leaving the school after the parent-teacher conference.
That is a great segue into today's episode.
Is it really?
Which I threw together because we're having a rough life. But that's all right.
Yep. There's always rough patches in life.
And that's okay. And as long as you do the best you can do.
Yep. And I think Christmas does it to everybody. I think Christmas time makes everybody rough.
Yeah. I know what our problem is. We can't see each other over these giant ass mics.
I know.
That's okay. That's all right. We'll figure it out.
Every once in a while, I'm just like to the left, to the right.
Okay. Are you ready for today's mini mystery?
Give it to me, Danie. I'm ready to go steady.
Shut up. Go bananas, Katie. Okay.
No.
Have you ever dreamed about something that felt insignificant only to have it appear in your life the next day in your waking reality?
No.
That's never happened to you? You've never dreamed of something and then it happens?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
Well, maybe this episode is not going to intrigue you then.
No, I'm already very intrigued.
Okay.
I wish I could dream something that's going to happen.
Or how about noticing something out of the ordinary and then seeing it repeatedly in your life over the coming days and weeks? Nope, never happened to you?
Seeing something out of the ordinary that repeatedly I see?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never happened to me either.
Like noticing, let's say, I don't know.
Like something that you just notice that you wouldn't normally notice.
Yes, and then seeing it again and again.
I think the only thing that's ever happened to me with is like when you buy a car and you never see that car around and then you suddenly see it everywhere.
Yes, that's a perfect example. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about synchronicities.
Ooh, I like that.
Yay.
Cool. And but we have a ton of synchronicities.
Yeah, we do.
As friends.
I was hoping you would remember our special
We're
moments
special
together.
Of course. We're special. I just had like a whole slideshow of our special moments flash through my head. Yeah.
All right. So that's today's episode.
Cool.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
The neocortex is the largest part of our brain and is responsible for episodic memory, attention, and perception. This part of the brain also helps us see patterns in our everyday life.
Ooh, wait, whoa. What's it called?
The neocortex.
Where's it located in the brain?
I don't know.
What? You didn't look at a brain map?
No.
Now I need to.
Okay,
go Because ahead. You said it's responsible for
episodic memory, attention, and perception.
Of patterns? You said?
It is the part of the brain that helps us see patterns, yes.
Okay.
Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist who believed in the theory of the collective unconscious. He coined the term synchronicity. He described this as two or more events as meaningfully related coincidences where something other than the probability of chance is involved.
Okay, yeah.
Many psychologists believe what's called synchronicities are simply our minds searching for something subconsciously. Like if someone said to you, how many yellow Jeeps have you seen today? You're bound to see a few of them in the upcoming days because your mind was primed to look for it. Mm-hmm. This is controlled by the RAS, or reticular activating system, which is a nerve bundle in the brain. This system is responsible for filtering the information that reaches our conscious mind, such as background noise. The RAS is responsible for the cocktail party effect. Have you ever heard of that?
Nope.
Okay. The cocktail party effect is when your brain tunes out noise and other distractions so that you can focus on what's important. For example, a conversation you're having at a party when there's a bunch of other stimuli going on, like music or other conversations. Mm-hmm. RAS is also responsible for hearing your name or your partner's name said in a crowd. You can tune out and just hear just that, and it will get your attention. Or learning a new word and then hearing it repeatedly on the radio or in conversation. Yeah. This phenomenon is usually auditory, but can also be visual, like my previous example with the yellow Jeep. Mm-hmm. Ordinarily, you wouldn't notice the yellow Jeep, but because your attention was drawn to it, now you notice it. Yep. Do you have something to say?
No.
Okay. But synchronicities go much deeper than that. So in my research for this episode, I found a good quote from a Reddit user who deleted their account, so I can't give them credit. But the question was, what was the difference between coincidence and synchronicity? And they said, quote, "It's certainly subjective, but I think we all make this distinction and know the difference. If I'm going to bed and I suddenly get a phone call, I don't consider that a synchronicity. But if I dream of a red phone booth and the next day I see one at a museum, I'm bound to think it's meaningful. Synchronicities pop precisely because our mind is naturally inclined to explain them away. A synchronicity is something our mind wants to explain away, but it feels inauthentic to do so."
And it's like the whole meaningful part to you makes a lot of sense. Right. Like we've discussed plenty of times where we would like think of somebody and then run into them. Yes. And it's like that if we weren't thinking about them earlier, it would be like, oh, just passing it by an acquaintance. But yeah, it becomes meaningful because you were thinking about them.
Exactly. And we talked about our synchronicities and like we have the frog thing, and I don't even know how that started.
Because it was something about like perception of the frog. Like, is the frog,
I don't even know,
here or there? No, I don't know. Up or down? It was something about like,
oh yeah,
yeah, something about,
this is Ralph.
Yes.
Yeah, so we saw
it was like it was
a meme.
Well, it was a meme.
And it basically said that it was a picture of a frog, and it said, "This is Ralph the frog. Ralph only exists when you're looking at it or talking about it or like viewing the picture of Ralph. And the second you forget about Ralph is when he no longer exists." So we were always joking about like, don't forget Ralph because he'll only exist if we remember him, which we already forgot what it even was.
I know, but we didn't forget Ralph himself though.
Right. So then Ralph became the name of our mascot.
Yes, he's on our logo if you look for him.
Yeah, look very closely for Ralph. But then after that, the synchronicity started happening where we started seeing frogs all the time. Mm-hmm. Remember there was that frog in my house like right after that?
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really weird.
Really weird.
Like, how does a frog get in here?
Well, we do live in the woods.
Yeah, but
he looked like he was like covered in cat fur too. I was like sweeping and I was like, why is there a frog on my floor covered in dust and cat fur?
That's so funny.
So ever since then we've been seeing frogs all over the place. So then that's a synchronicity because like if I think of you and then I see a frog, it's like,
yeah, exactly.
So yeah. Another user by the name of Dave Mang 92 said, quote, "Synchronicities are different to coincidences because they carry a weight of meaning," like you said. "Meaning is very important to humans, and we follow it despite hard facts that advise us otherwise. Thus, synchronicities can reveal to us the inner mechanics of our mind, and yes, they usually have a spooky inner lining to them."
Spooky.
So what does it mean when you see a synchronistic event? Some people believe that it's an alignment between your inner and outer world, as if your consciousness has created the outward manifestation of your current reality. The synchronization between your inner and outer world can be taken as a sign that you're on the right track, or others believe this is your subconscious mind saying, hey, look at me, don't forget about me. Like Ralph.
Yeah.
So, an amazing example of a magical synchronicity was told by Greg Levoy, who writes for psychologytoday.com. In an article called Synchronicities, a sure sign you're on the right path, Greg explained that he had spent 20 years as a reporter for a newspaper and had recently made the decision to become a freelance writer. This was taking a huge leap of faith, and he was scared. He said that one evening he was driving home from work shortly after he made the decision to leave the newspaper, and Desperado was playing on the radio. As he parked his car, the line in the song, "Don't you draw the Queen of Diamonds, she'll beat you if she's able, the Queen of Hearts is always your best bet," was playing as he pulled his keys out of the ignition. Immediately after, upon stepping out of his car, on the ground in front of him was a playing card.
It was a Queen of Hearts.
It was the Queen of Hearts. Crazy,
cool.
Right?
Yeah. I have goosebumps.
Me too. He told his friend about this event. It gets crazier. He told his friend about this event and what it could possibly mean, and she explained that this is a nod from the universe and a sign that you're on the right path. Over the next 2 years, Greg found 5 more Queen playing cards across the country, including 6 miles into the wilderness, at a beach, in a conference room, and on the sidewalk.
Whoa, he was really in alignment with his path, with his life path.
Yes.
Wow. That's nuts. He didn't veer off at all.
No. Greg said, quote, "And every time I found another Queen card, the sheer unbelievability of it took another giant step forward, and eventually it went so far beyond the laws of probability that I only barely hesitate to say that it's impossible that there was nothing more going on here than a statistical aberration.
Right.
This was orchestrated by something with wits. This shot my rational view of the universe pretty much to hell."
Yeah, because seriously, like what? There's no way that's coincidence. There's no way in hell. Out of all the playing cards in a deck, too, you're always gonna have the Queen of Hearts be found. Like there's just no way.
Yeah, right.
No way.
He found a bunch of different Queen cards.
Right. No.
In all different places, 2 places where they wouldn't normally be.
Yeah. Yeah, you should have been getting a freaking 2 of spades. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere in there. Come on.
I mean, I feel like finding a playing card is weird in itself.
It is very weird. I mean, maybe every once in a great while you'll see one in like a gutter of like a littered town or something.
Some people find synchronicity in like finding certain coins. Like I know some people really believe in
the
like
pennies from heaven and the dimes.
Yeah, and like the
my family.
Yeah, some people in my family too.
Yep.
Have you ever had any meaningful coincidences like this?
Finding things like that? Nope.
No,
I always wished I did though. For my mom,
I have one.
I would always take it as like a sign of like a loved one sending love, like that. I always wished for something like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That reminds me of one that did happen with my boyfriend and I. We vacation at this certain place, and there's a song about that place. And one night we were in the car talking about how badly we wanted to go back to our vacation spot.
Yep.
And we never listened to the radio, like we're not radio people.
Yeah.
And on the radio, right at that moment, was that song about our vacation spot.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, that is so crazy. We like listened to the song all the way through. And at the end of the song, another song comes on. We changed the station, and on the next station was the same exact song.
Wow.
And it's not a song that you hear very often on the radio.
It's not.
It's not.
No, it's
you know
not.
It, right?
Of course I do.
So,
I do.
Yeah. So like that was one that was crazy, but there's been many, 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 but that was like one of the crazier ones that I just couldn't get over.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, like, and I don't know, I feel like the synchronicities that I experience in my life are about like connection with people, like reading somebody's mind or like saying something like at the same time or, and then thinking of them and them calling or seeing them. And I feel like those are to like the people I'm really super close with and connected to. My
dad's birthday is right around yours, and the same thing happens to him. Yeah. He'll think of somebody and they call.
Yeah.
Like almost
like
every
I told
time.
You the story about me and my cousin, him reading my mind. mind.
Yes,
We have the same birthday.
Yeah.
And we're very, very close. And we were intentional about it. Like he was trying to read my mind. And out of every single name in the world, if you don't know the story, he picked the name I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's just wild. It's so wild. That was like, that to me showed me that there's like more to life.
Yeah. And I've got quite a few, but they're all, and that's the thing with synchronicities. They're so personal that it might not seem like anything to somebody else, or it's like too personal to share like with the whole world.
Yeah.
But, like, that it was a sign just for you.
Yes. Yes.
That's happened to me a lot.
Oh yeah. You've shared a lot of them with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild. And it's like easy for you to right away be like, I'm a psychic, or I'm, and I mean, that's valid, like feelings, could you know what I mean? It could be, you're just super like intuitive and, connected, through the universe.
But I'm not sure that it even has to do with being psychic. I think it's like,
it might not be
speaking to you.
Yeah. And you just being able to pick up on it.
Yeah.
Being open enough to pick up on it and notice. Can you imagine how many like synchronicities get overlooked by people?
I know.
Because they don't pay attention to anything. Yeah. Or they don't think deep enough into things. Like there's a lot of people like that.
There's so many people like that just dismiss it. And that's okay to have your own beliefs, and that's fine. But I don't.
But what's the fun in that?
There's no fun.
There is no fun. And you can't deny a really good, like, jaw-dropping, like, that's not a coincidence story.
Right.
You can't deny one of
Just
those.
by probability alone, and the meaningfulness added into it is what makes it different than a coincidence.
Right.
But eventually, this guy, Greg, ascribed his own personal meaning to the queen cards based on the queen archetype of feminine energy. Oh. So it was assigned to Greg to use more of his heart and less of his head. And I think that's interesting because there's a lot about like dream interpretation and archetypes and symbolism and all that stuff that goes back, thousands of years. And I think that that's also kind of part of it, is that there's always like a thread of symbolism that it can go a little bit deeper than just a meaningful coincidence. And then it becomes like it's actually speaking to you or showing you something, or because you're not the one that's putting the symbolism on it. The symbolism just becomes. My heat is very loud. I apologize. It's winter in Massachusetts here. It's freaking cold.
It's so cold. Sorry, that was very exaggerative, but it's true. It is so cold.
So I have a book called Signs, The Secret Language of the Universe by Laura Lynn Jackson. And in the first chapter, the author explains that she was about to give a big talk in front of a large audience and had like an oh shit moment where she was like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like imposter syndrome and all that stuff. And she asked the universe to send her an orange to prove that she was on the right path. So after she gave her speech, she entered the backstage area, and there were tables that were usually covered with decorative flowers and snacks. But on this day, there were thousands of oranges on tables and baskets piled up in the corners. Not one orange, thousands of oranges. And she started like crying.
I was just thinking, I'd be like rubbing my eyes, like, am I dreaming? Right? Am I hallucinating?
Right?
Like, what the hell?
Right.
So weird.
It's crazy.
So whatever came of those oranges? Like, is there any explanation?
No. Not that she wrote.
Yeah, man.
Just that she was like blown away by it.
Yeah. I like knowing. I want an explanation. Where did those come from?
Well, even still, like,
it's wild.
Does it take away the meaning to you?
No.
Because how would that one thing align just for you? Yeah. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, if it was like a misdelivery of oranges, like, you know what I mean? It's still...
Right. You still asked for an orange.
Yeah. So that guy, Carl Jung, which I'd like to do an episode on him because he's interesting in himself. He might be my favorite. Above Van Tassel, above Helen Hansel, and above whoever I said was my other favorite.
Yes.
They're all my favorite. But his belief was that these synchronistic events are to lead us to the enhancement of our own consciousness, though he did acknowledge that searching for them too much and like looking for signs all the time can lead to delusion. So don't do that.
Yep, definitely don't.
His theory is wide open for debate and has been debated for years because it cannot be proven or disproven.
Huh.
And synchronicities certainly feel like a wondrous event and are considered to be a wink from the universe, as if it has a sense of humor and magic to it.
I like that.
And I have this quote that I loved. And above all, watch with glittering eyes the whole world around you, because the greatest secrets are hidden in the most unlikely places. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it.
Aw, it's beautiful.
And that was written by Roald Dahl.
That's beautiful.
The children's author.
Aw.
He wrote Matilda.
I actually, when you read it, I thought to myself, it sounds like it belongs in a children's book.
Yep. And it's interestingly, my boyfriend messaged me today unknowingly that we were doing this episode and showed me a quote that said, children believe in magic because they can see it, and seeing is believing, right?
Yeah.
And it's true, because they haven't yet been taught what's real and not real quotes.
Right.
So there it is. There's my mini mystery for you.
That was great. It was perfectly short and sweet.
Good. I hope.
And I loved the meaning behind it. Yeah.
And I'm sure Christmas, so get some magical spirit.
Oh my gosh, seriously! But I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this episode for sure. You know, a lot of people.
I hope so. I like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah. Hopefully people like hearing us. Actually, I had one kind of, again, it's like all of the things that I can think of that are really synchronicities, besides like running into people with like connections, is like spiritual stuff, or not spiritual, but like deceased. But like there was a tree beside my mom's grave that she had picked, like on a plot. And that tree hadn't bloomed in like 20 years or something. And then when she passed, it bloomed for the first time. Like when we went to the site to like check it out and everything, the owner of the cemetery was like, this tree hasn't bloomed. It's like this beautiful tree. So that was really cool. But yeah, no, again though, it's like, it's probably my perception of it, you know, like I'm not looking for, or I'm not asking the universe for signs. That's one thing. I'm definitely not.
I think that helps, but
I need to ask for an orange.
Yeah, you should.
Actually, no, I'm going to ask for, what's your favorite fruit?
What's my favorite fruit? Strawberries? Star fruit? Have you ever had a star fruit?
Dude, again with synchronicities.
Jamie, I love star fruit.
No. No. But I swear to you, I can show you. I'll show you after we're done recording. I just today screenshotted star fruit, and it has 2.5 net carbs in it. But no,
it's like a cross between a kiwi and an apple.
It's good.
I like it. I'm not a picky eater though, but I like star fruit a lot.
Because look, can you see it from here? It says keto.
Oh wow!
And this was like 2 hours ago, and That's never crazy. Even like. I don't want to say heard of it, but I really...
It's not something you think of?
Yeah, never.
That's a synchronicity.
That's a synchronicity right there. Yeah. We just caught one for you guys. Live. So, I mean, I guess this is the best way to end the episode.
I have a good synchronicity, too.
Sorry.
Another one.
Sorry.
Yeah. Don't cut off
Throw it out.
My synchronicities, okay?
My beat.
So, my brother was very into trains.
Yes.
And one time... not that long ago, I was at the hospital that he passed at, and I had to go to the ER late at night. I was the only one there, the only one in the waiting room, and sitting in the waiting room on the table was Locomotive Magazine with a train on the front. And I was like, who the fuck reads a Locomotive Magazine? And especially in like a hospital waiting room.
Yeah. So
that was one that I just could not get past. I was like, that is fucking weird. Because I was already thinking about him. I haven't been to that hospital probably since he passed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it was like crazy. But the flower blooming thing, the same thing happened with my grandfather.
He
loved morning glories. And the year he died, all the morning glories bloomed, and they hadn't before.
Dude, another crazy thing about like passing, and my boyfriend back in the day that passed, his mom, because he was buried in the same plot as her, his mom's picture was on. Now she passed young as well. She sadly passed in her 20s too. Actually, she might have been a little younger than that, but she had a picture of her cemented to the stone, and it was there his whole entire life. It was there. It was flawless, right? This beautiful photo of her. He dies at a young age, sadly, and that photo on the stone started to drip like glue.
What?
It's still there to this day. If you go look at it, the glue dripped. It almost looks like she was like crying.
Yeah. Because
like it comes down from the photo and it just dripped there. After all those years, it took that time for it to start. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
It's wild.
We should do an episode on the crying statues and stuff. I think that's
isn't
that on our list?
Yeah. It's so bizarre. It's like even if it was the glue, why did the glue hold up until this moment?
Right.
So crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And then again, people could be like, it's coincidence. The glue only held up for 20 something years or whatever. But like, no, it's more than that. Like it's wicked crazy.
When my uncle passed this year, they offered a plot in the cemetery. And when they found the plot, it was right next to my cousin that passed, like right side by side.
And not intentional.
Not intentional.
Wow.
And we all thought that was like wild.
That is
it's like a
really,
big cemetery. And
yeah.
It's like,
to end up together.
And he didn't die recently either. He died like a while ago, like when I was pregnant. So 9 years ago. Not recent at all.
Really strange how they ended back like up close. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that is that. Amazing, crazy stuff. That was a good episode. Thank you for sharing. Happy holiday shopping to our listeners out there. Listener, our one. We're supposed to address one. I'll never get used to that. Yeah. So happy holiday shopping to you. Yep. Well, I'm saying holiday shopping. I want to give a shout out to
Kristen because she is like a solid fan, and I don't think we give her enough credit.
Kristen.
Her name's Kristen. I believe she's a Patreon subscriber too, but she's always like right on it with social media.
You don't know her last initial of her name, so we can
I think it's W.
Okay, Kristen.
She was like she was the #1 fan on Spotify.
Cool.
Like her.
I didn't know that it would
1%.
I didn't know that 1%. It would show names like that.
Every year the Spotify does Spotify Wrapped, so it was her Spotify Wrapped that showed she was in the top 1%.
I see.
So was I.
Not me. I wasn't.
That's all right. So thank you, Kristen. I appreciate your support.
We really appreciate you. That's awesome, girl.
Yeah.
Keep listening. Tell your cool friends.
Yep.
Your weird friends.
Yep.
All right.
We're sorry that we haven't been we're not going anywhere, I hope.
Yeah, we're not.
We're not planning on going anywhere. We've just had some problems.
Some crazy life stuff going on.
Some crazy life stuff that we won't get into, but we're all good over here.
Yeah, mostly. Not between me and Danie, though.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good. Just life stuff. Yeah. Don't worry, we're not breaking up.
We're fighting. No.
we didn't record because we were fighting. Imagine that.
No, we're not. We're not fighting.
No, because if we were, Danie'd be gone.
What? What does that mean? To be dead?
Stay mysterious.